Hello everyone, Stephen here. Thank you for joining me again today for another episode of Reef Chat. And this has been a super exciting weekend as I received my 550 gallon reef tank from Custom Aquariums located here in Neenah, Wisconsin. So today you will see the process of how the tank was delivered and moved into the basement. And in the last 30 seconds here, you can see that I have removed my window. The window space here is 5 foot by 5 foot. So the tank stand, which is coming through the window right here, is 36 inches tall by 48 inches wide. So it would have been okay whichever way they wanted it, but they feel that, a little bit safer, probably just visually. They don't want to nick any part of the window. I have to hire 8 big guys here to help me out. I may look very useless, that's me on the right, but I will be honest with you, I am kind of a wimp. I don't have too much biceps compared to these guys that I've hired, so I'm just going to be in their way if I attempt to help, and I'm not going to be very helpful. So I was more kind of like in the spotting role, make sure that people aren't hitting into things, and make sure that people don't hurt themselves while they're doing the process. So Custom Aquariums built this tank for me, which is 96 inch long, which is equivalent to 8 feet, and 48 inches wide, 4 feet by 36 inches tall for the stand. This is a steel stand here, and you can see in the bottom there's a piece of plywood, and also in the top it is lined up with plywood. So what we're gonna do here is these guys are trying to just line up. You can see there's a hole in the wall where I will put the fish tank there, and if you watch my previous video, you already know that I have the light, the framing of my light box and the canopy build up. So right here I'm just taking a piece of 2x4, making sure that everything is lined up from the canopy to the stand, because the tank is going to sit on the stand obviously, and if the stand is crooked or not lined up properly, then the tank won't. So we're just kind of taking time, making sure that everything lined up. And now it's time for the tank to be unloaded. So here I'm kind of travel back and forth, handing some equipment, and this guy is just removing the door handle and then the stopper so that the door can open as wide as possible. It is a 32-inch opening, I believe, and the tank, you see them tilting it on its side, is going to be about 28.5 inch, including the plastic, or I should say metal, sides. So I know that a lot of people don't recommend putting tank on its side, but this is just temporary. It shouldn't do like any integrity damage to the tank, just so that they can fit through the doorway, because otherwise I have to tear down the door. Here in February in Wisconsin, the temperature right now, as the tank was moving in, was actually kind of like in the teens. Super cold, so as you can see, everybody's still wearing their jacket. And we were able to get the tank onto 3 little dolly carts, push them through the doorway, and here we're coming into the final stretch, kind of like the last mile here. And I'm going to move through the door where you can see they're swinging the tank around, because the holes where they're drilled for the overflow box is going to be facing the other wall. So here you can see the layout of my basement a little bit. I actually will just go ahead and have polished concrete floor here. I'm not going to add any carpeting or tiling of any sort. I actually personally, I grew up with polished concrete in a lot of my native environments, so I loved it. I think it's simple, it's elegant, and it's a little industrial kind of fitting to my tank. So this tank, again, is 8x4 by 28 inches tall, and actually weighs 800 pounds dry, just as is. I have 2 sides on the low iron glass, and one side isn't. I'll explain in my next episode. And the bottom is actually, I opted for 3/4 inch. I want it to be a little bit thicker than what I was recommended, just in case, and it is tempered glass. So right here, they're kind of slided in. It looks like my calculation was spot on. on top of the tank to the canopy, there's about a half an inch space. Once the tank gets filled up with water, it'll probably sink a little bit more yet. So I'll add some fillings. Part 2 should be coming in a couple of days when I have the plumbing done. So thank you for joining me today. I will catch you guys once the plumbing is done.